Welcome to the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society. Welcome to ITSP Magazine. You're listening to a new The Hacker Factory podcast with hacker maker Phillip Wylie. You're about to discover what the role of a professional hacker entails, the different specializations it holds, and what it takes to learn and become one. Enjoy the conversation as Phillip and guests unveil the secrets of professional hacking, a mysterious, intriguing, and often misunderstood occupation. Knowledge is power, now more than ever.
BugCrowd's award-winning platform combines actionable contextual intelligence with the skill and experience of the world's most elite hackers to help leading organizations identify and fix vulnerabilities, protect customers, and make the digitally connected world a safer place. Learn more at bugcrowd.com.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Hacker Factory podcast. I'm your host, Phillip Wylie, the Hacker Maker. And although this won't be the first episode of 2022 in order of episodes being released, this will be the second one, but the actual first one of 2022. And I'm happy to introduce my guest, Jake Scheetz.
Hey guys. Happy to be here. I'm excited to get to have a little bit of a conversation, dive into my background and experiences, and get to chat with you here, Phillip.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time, and I know you're fairly new to the industry, so those listening, this there's some good pointers there. You can always learn some good stuff from folks just getting started out. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so kind of like Phillip said there, I'm actually pretty new to the industry. I graduated in this past year from college, so I did take a little bit of the standard route, if that's what you want to call it, going into college. However, going into college, I actually thought I wanted to go to medical school. So I spent the first 3 years in college, almost 3 years in college, studying biology. So nothing to do with computer science or hacking or anything like that. I actually went and became a certified EMT, took it to that extent and realized that that wasn't where my passion lied. So I kind of took a step back and reevaluated myself and where my passions lied, and I realized I was super into tech. The more I kind of, dove into the tech space and switching to a computer science major, I kind of discovered security, cybersecurity, and how much I like to tinker with things and, mess with things, try to make things break. And that's kind of how I got started in the industry to begin with. But I did go to school for computer science. I got the opportunity to do some really cool research for the government in that cybersecurity space. And then from there, I kind of participated in some like CTFs, some capture the flags that were like collegiately sponsored. So, competitions like the National Cyber League was kind of the big one that I did a handful of times and met some really, really awesome and helpful people through there. And it kind of just sprung my interest. I realized how deep the rabbit hole went and never really turned back from there. I just got more and more interested in learning all these different disciplines in security. And it really, honestly amazed me how many different avenues there are. From the outside looking in, it looks like, there's only like the hackers and the hoodies in their basement, like plucking away at like a terminal. But it really is astounding how many different ways that you can go and focus your security profession if that's what you want to do.
Well, that's great. I'm glad that you mentioned that you went to college and that's how you got your start. Because, a lot of the guests we have on here, maybe they went to college something totally different. And then all of a sudden, after they worked in that field, they changed directions. Maybe they went the certification route, self-study. So it's good to have someone on with the college background, because one of the things I really think is great about the college route and the value of that is if you really don't know what to do to get started, then there's a lot of research you got to do on your own if you're not going the college route. But if you've got, someone showing you need this and this. There's some kind of guidance there, and you're going to have a good foundation getting in. And I really like the way you went in the computer science route, because I really think if someone wants to be a pen tester, I think some of the stuff you learn in computer science is definitely good, learning how to code and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm actually studying for my OSCP right now, so I'm taking the Pen 200 course from Offensive Security, and I can't even tell you how many times I've had to reference back old computer science classes that I took, and that really helped lay a foundation, I think, for some things that I'm learning now. And I'm very grateful for the education that I got. I think it's helped me a lot. Definitely more on the programming side for sure. Computer science is a very program heavy major. I just didn't want to be a software engineer, so I kind of went a different way. But for certain things like scripting in Python, that's become more prevalent in the new content that the OSCP, for example, has added. I've noticed that that's something that feels a little bit more natural to me, is being able to script things, and I definitely think that's a super helpful skill.
Yeah, that's good. And since we're kind of on the topic, so for someone getting started out, would you recommend that they learn how to script or learn how to code?
Yeah. I think it's made my life easier, and I think it's a skill that can elevate your career. I wouldn't want to scare anybody away, though, saying that it's absolutely necessary. I'm kind of in the camp that believes that it's not a hard requirement. There's a lot of security professions, like our governance, risk, and compliance folks that we probably both work with on a daily basis, that sure, coding for them might be helpful, but I wouldn't by any stretch of the imagination be like, yeah, you need to be super proficient and be like software engineer level, just banging out lines of code all the time to be able to get into the industry. But I can say, from the flip side of the coin, with all of that background that I went through in programming, it has helped me understand a lot of concepts in computer science and programming, and being able to read code, understand where vulnerabilities in code lies. I think that's super important, and it's helped me from that standpoint as well.
Yeah, that's definitely good to be able to expand your capabilities, where you could do source code reviews and that sort of thing. So since you kind of went the traditional route, what all have you done? You've mentioned that you were going through the OSCP course. So what else did you do to learn hacking for for your pen testing career?
Yeah, so as most college kids are, I was a broke college kid. I was spending all that money on tuition. I didn't have a lot of money to throw around at certifications, and a lot of these things that are really expensive now. So I used a lot of open source platforms, kind of like Try Hack Me was a big thing when I first started out. So when I first started doing capture the flags, I remember looking at things and being like, oh my gosh, what in the world is this? This is crazy. There's so much going on. I don't even know how to change directories in a Linux terminal. This is wild. So I remember, in addition to a lot of mentorship with older students that I had at college, one thing that I found super useful was Try Hack Me. Try Hack Me is great. It has I don't want it to come off wrong, but it has a great handhold experience, especially if you're brand new and know nothing, almost to the point where you don't even know where to start. They put you in the place to start, and you can learn some really, really intense topics on Try Hack Me. You can go all the way from learning your way around a Linux terminal all the way up to some pretty advanced topics. They have buffer overflows on there. They have heap overflow examples on there. There's some pretty crazy stuff. So, there's definitely a super great skill vertical on that website. Moving from Try Hack Me, I kind of started to get a little bit more into things like VulnHub and Hack the Box, I think are two great resources. I do think Hack the Box, or at least it used to be, it was a little bit more intense than Hack Me was, although they do have like the starting point track and things now that are super helpful. But those were primarily the main two resources that I used, on top of following some great people on Twitter. I actually use Twitter pretty heavily, and there's a lot of people that just have such a burning passion for the field that they just create free labs and they'll tweet them out. I know the XSS Rat is one that I love. He just tweets free labs all the time. He's like, hey, I just spun something up in the cloud. Everybody come take a spin at it, and he'll like tweet out like the solution for it. And I think that's so awesome. So there's lots of great people to engage with on Twitter, and lots of great free resources that you can use to get up to speed. So those were primarily the main three that I used.
Well, good. So whenever you were going through National Cyber League, did that kind of spark any of your interest to learn pen testing?
Yeah, I actually I got like super interested in like the password cracking and the OSINT challenges, like the open source intelligence challenges. I remember I thought it was super crazy. Like, the very first one that I participated in, I mentioned I had like no idea what was going on pretty much. So I was kind of like in like a Discord, like a Teams chat, like with all these other older students that were like used to doing this. And one of the OSINT challenges was just a picture of like an airport, but it was like from like the street. And it was like, figure out what airport this is, and that was the solution. And I was like thinking in my head, I'm like, outside of, like reverse image searching this on Google, like I don't even know like what you would do. And it's crazy the different things that you could do, like pulling the image down and stripping it like it's metadata and looking into all these different things. From an outsider's point of view, all this technology, it works like magic. But it's so interesting to me, and maybe this is a little bit of like my pen testing mind a little bit, is boiling it down to what truly exists under the hood, and trying to tinker with it and find different things. I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, one of the things you definitely learn when you get into security is how insecure of a world we live in.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the more that I've learned, and even more experienced people probably have more to say, but the more that I learn, the more that I'm like, man, I just want to unplug my computer. You're really not safe, especially some of these really sophisticated and intelligent threat actors that are out there, and just smart minds. There's some pretty incredible and sleek things that these people can do. They have some pretty crazy capabilities.
Yeah, it seems like once you're kind of aware of the threat actor mindset and some of the things that can be done, you just don't look at things the same way. Back in my consulting days, I had a client in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, and I remember landing and sitting at the luggage carousel, and I saw a USB thumb drive laying down on the ground. And first thing I thought, it was something malicious. I thought, I wonder what's on there. I was thinking, someone's put some malicious code on there. So you plug it into your computer and they get a shell to your computer or whatever, or some kind of Trojan. And so It's kind of funny, once you get exposed to this stuff, it's kind of hard to look at the world the same way anymore. Yeah,
definitely. And maybe I didn't touch on this previously, but I'd spent probably the last 8 months working on like an application security engineering team. So that was like my first gig out of college, and I did like a little bit part-time, helped out with like some of the SOC responsibilities. So I kind of got to triage some of those things, and even just in the past 8 months, like just in that short little time window, it's crazy the things that you'll see come through, like different people like sending you text messages that they got that are allegedly from like the CEO that's asking them to go grab Apple gift cards, and all these elaborate phishing schemes and things that are attacking businesses. I know it's from the outside looking in, it kind of sounds like we're talking about all this like imaginary warfare that's going on all the time, and it's hard to believe that this happens all the time, but It really does, and it's crazy the different things that people will try to do. So seeing it for the first time for real is pretty cool. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing how that has grown, the phishing and smishing and all that stuff, how that's increased so much. I mean, because I got started pen testing back in 2012, but now it's like it's almost like a daily basis that you get some phishing email or maybe some kind of smishing message that someone's trying to get you to click on a link. It's something related to, a delivery from, some U.S. Postal Service or FedEx or something, or you won this Amazon gift card. So it's getting a lot more frequent. But then again, there's people that are clicking on it, and that's why they're doing it. And then, it seems like, some of the older generations that aren't as familiar with technology, because I get messages a lot on Facebook from people I know, either they're my age or older, but I know usually people in their 50s and older and stuff are more victim to that type of thing. But I get messages from them sometimes, a Facebook message, and there'll be some link, and it's just some kind of unusual message in it, and I'll respond back to them, did you intend to send this? I find out first, and then sometimes let them know that, okay, oh crap, I clicked on something bad and I shouldn't have, or whatever. At least let them see. I'm not going to open it up anyway, but just to kind of let them know. Unless someone was sending me an actual YouTube video or something and it was legit, then maybe I'll check it out. But you'd have to be careful nowadays because people that are vulnerable to that kind of stuff.
Yeah. That's some of my friends even poke fun at me because they think I'm like walking around with a tinfoil hat on, like, oh, don't click on anything, they're gonna steal money from you or whatever it may be. But it really is impressive. I get them all the time, and I've even fallen victim, not necessarily to like the phishing attempt, but kind of the flip side of the coin of being like too suspicious. Like like our company maybe like sent out like a virtual gift card for Christmas, and I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, there's absolutely no way I'm clicking on that link to redeem that gift card. Like, you know what I mean? Then a week later, everybody joining in a company meeting, they're like, oh, make sure to go redeem your gift card, and you look back and you're like, oh no, the link's expired because I thought it was a phishing attempt. So I'm definitely fallen victim to it in reverse there, but there is some pretty elaborate schemes out there now, and it's crazy the lengths that they'll go through. I've seen things that like have gotten sent to like salespeople that they'll forward like the information security team the email, and you look at it and you're like, holy cow, that's impressive. Like just the amount of like styling and time that went into that email is really impressive. So, there's people out there that have the time to do this. So it definitely is something to take a mental note of.
So, yeah, you mentioned how you kind of got into things and you went the non-traditional route of college. So what would you do anything different if you had it to do over again?
Yeah, I definitely appreciate the education that I got, and I definitely value my education. I think it really made me a really well-rounded learner and a person. I think the current state of a lot of like cybersecurity programs in college are a little maybe like behind the industry. I did a lot of like, all the security classes I took were very like theoretically based. They weren't like super up to date. So I wish I would have gotten maybe involved in some more like current training sooner. I had just recently done like Portswigger's Web App Security Academy online, which is, again, that's another great free resource. But that is night and day, so much better in terms of like actually getting your hands on it and exploiting these vulnerabilities and really understanding like the bits and pieces of exactly what's going on in the back end. There's so much free content out there. I'm not saying like don't go to college, but there's so much out there that is free that you can do at your own pace. And it's really like it's worded in a really digestible way. So maybe getting involved in some more like current training would have been something. I kind of put off like, creating like networking accounts, like a LinkedIn, my Twitter, where I engage with a lot of like information security professionals. I kind of put that off for a while. I wish I would have done that sooner. And this is kind of one of the hills that I'll die on now. And one of my biggest regrets in the industry already is not doing that sooner, because I had, I maybe had like 60 followers on Twitter, something just very, very minuscule, which you'd probably look at and think that's like such a small network of people. But I had tweeted out that I was like, I really want to transition to like a red team role. I want to get into pen testing so bad. Like, I just reached out. I put it out on Twitter. And lo and behold, somebody, whether it had been somebody that replied and saw it through their network or what have you, somebody actually reached out and they're like, hey, we have openings for junior pen testers. Like, I would highly encourage you to look into this. And I did, and that's kind of the role that I'm moving into now. So, not everybody can say they got a job through a Twitter network, but even if you think it's silly to start networking with people on a social media platform as informal as Twitter, it really is powerful. I know it sounds so cliche, like hammering on the networking piece, but the opportunities that you can get in this community are crazy. There's a lot of super, super generous people out there. And that's probably one of the things that I wish I had done sooner, looking back on it. But that was a really, really unique thing that I think I had the opportunity of happening to me.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, because I'm a big fan of Twitter. It's probably my favorite platform, and then LinkedIn's probably my second favorite platform. But for those that are listening, that's how Jake got on here. I actually saw you tweet out about, I think you said, would anyone be interested in you doing a video on your OSCP journey? And when I saw that, I thought, or maybe you'd mentioned that is either that, or maybe it was your tweet about getting a red team job or pen testing role. And I thought, wow, there's someone that I could have on my show. So that's kind of how I found you. So for people listening, it helps. I actually got a ticket to the last DerbyCon for free through Twitter, and it was the last one. So tickets normally sold out like super quick. I think the last year of it, I tried to get tickets, and I think all the tickets sold out in like 30 seconds or something. I was in the movie theater with my daughter. I had the Eventbrite app on my phone. I had everything ready to check out, and as soon as the tickets went on sale, they were already sold out. And so I was in the Tribe of Hackers Red Team book, and I was tweeting back and forth with Jeff Mann, that was also in the book, and he asked me if I was going to be at DerbyCon, and I said if I can get tickets. I don't have tickets. And less than 2 minutes later, probably a minute or so later, someone had sent me a direct message and say, hey, I've got some tickets. If you would take some pictures of, they were like a recruiting company, and they were a sponsor of the event. So they had a vendor booth there, and they had the bracelets that said that let you know whether you're looking for a job or you're hiring. The hiring or looking bracelets. And she said, hey, if you would just tweet out a picture of the bracelets and tag me in it, I'll give you my ticket for free. So I got a $180 ticket to the last DerbyCon because of Twitter. So yeah, it is very powerful.
It is. I definitely underestimated it. I know throughout college, I just used Twitter for, looking through memes and, having a laugh, looking at different accounts. And I never really viewed it as a way to kind of engage with like a community of professionals. And, I kind of discovered that like InfoSec Twitter niche, like just on a personal account. And I was like, I want to transition into this space. I want to like create an account where I can, interact with all these different people that are on here. And I seriously could not be more grateful for all the opportunities that it's already afforded me. It's really been crazy.
Yeah, just I'd seen that you have a YouTube channel, so you want to discuss some of your content creation efforts or how that's going?
Yeah. So I actually partially created like a YouTube because that was another thing that really inspired me. I know there's a lot of YouTube content creators in the InfoSec space that do a lot of super helpful things. So kind of going back to like that, that hack the box, try hack me area where there is a little bit more of that intermediate advanced step where, they kind of take the bumper guards off. And it's more of like a true, like kind of like a pen test against the intentionally vulnerable box. And there's maybe not like a solution there right away. And for one thing that helped me, there's some really great YouTubers that do this, but they'll create videos of how they went through the box. And, it's not necessarily the only answer to things, but just to see somebody's process and their mindset of what it takes to overcome the hurdles and those information gaps and those skill gaps that they didn't have at the time were super helpful and super important in what I think is the skill set that I developed. And I felt inspired, and I figured that I would contribute to the same space. So that's one thing that I do in my free time now. I create some of those walkthrough videos. Some more popular ones have been associated with Hack the Box. I wanted to gear them more towards the true starter, which is one thing that Hack the Box did. There's now a starting point track, which essentially assumes that you have zero knowledge on security, or maybe that you can just hook a VPN up, just get connected in. But I wanted to help people out there and create content that they could use to start their journey, get their feet wet in information security. Maybe they've been working on like the blue side of things and they want to see what's transitioning more to the red side of attacking a box, like what that methodology looks like. So I've been building that content out there. I know you had mentioned it, but I had made a tweet of, does anybody want to see like the journey through like the OSCP? That's definitely something that I've been planning here. I've been recording, trying to get those videos ready, just to kind of give some transparency, because there were some gaps that I had identified when I was in college. I know like a few years ago, I had gotten like my Security Plus, and that was a great entry level certification. But I always looked at the OSCP as this like insurmountable monster killer certification that just brickwalled anybody who tried to attempt it. Only the 1% passed it. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think anybody can learn anything if they're really determined enough to do it. And that's where I kind of want to supplement my content on that YouTube channel, is to prove that, if you have the work ethic and the determination to use that content to fill in those gaps for yourself and to learn. So that's kind of the content I've been creating on there.
Oh, very cool. I see a lot of people that have, some people have kind of gotten into the industry through the content they've created. And, that's one of the reasons I got to where I've recently encouraged people to create content, but even more kind of before that, encouraging people to talk at local meetups, because there was a college graduate that was at one of our local DEF CON groups, and they did a talk on malware analysis. And then one of the hiring managers for a large financial company was in the audience. He heard his talk and asked for his resume, and the person got a job there at that company because, basically it's almost like you're doing a technical interview. You're just kind of showing people your technical skills through that demonstration. So same thing with the content creation. You're able to show people what you can do and your communication skills and all this. So I think it's very important.
Yeah. It's really a win-win, because everything that you put out, even if you're creating content on something that's already been, kind of covered before. Maybe you're providing the content through a different lens that somebody else didn't see it through. And having more information out there is never a bad thing. So it's a win for the community. It's a win for yourself. I even tried. I went and put my YouTube on my resume, even though I only have 25, 30 videos on there. That was something that during the interview process I had a hiring manager comment on. They were like, it's different. We don't see a YouTube channel on a resume every day. And I was like, well, I wanted, that's something I would encourage other people to do. You want to be able to show what you can do and demonstrate that communication and, everything that you kind of touched on. But it is a win-win for everybody when you're putting things out there, talking to other people, sharing ideas. It helps everybody else out in the long run.
Yeah, that's great. This has been an awesome discussion. It's, I've seen you on Twitter, so it was good to get to actually talk to you and, face to face or virtually, but it's good to learn a little bit more about you. Is there anything that you'd like to share before we end the show?
There was one thing, like when I was in college, everybody kind of struggles with it, and I saw it, a lot. I've seen it more on Twitter. Some people as they're learning things, the pressure of imposter syndrome or burnout, if you're good enough. One thing that I would strongly encourage everybody is just to keep going. If you get beaten down by a topic while you're trying to pursue a career in cybersecurity, just don't give up. It comes with time and hard work, and you'll eventually get there. So I strongly encourage people, if you're interested in the industry, to keep going and ask for help, because there's so many people like yourself in the industry that are always out there and super helpful. So I'd strongly encourage to keep working and always ask for help when you need it.
Wise words. Thanks again for joining us. Appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to do the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity to come on here and get to talk with you.
Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you on the next episode. And I hope you all have a great 2022.
BugCrowd's award-winning platform combines actionable contextual intelligence with the skill and experience of the world's most elite hackers to help leading organizations identify and fix vulnerabilities, protect customers, and make the digitally connected world a safer place. Learn more at bugcrowd.com.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Hacker Factory podcast with Phillip Wylie. If you learned something new and this podcast made you think, then share itspmagazine.com with your friends, family, and colleagues. If you represent a company and wish to associate your brand with our conversations, sponsor one or more of our podcast channels. We hope you will come back for more stories and follow us on our journey. You can always find us at the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society.